Good evening and welcome to this week's edition of Ghanaian Focus with myself, Kwame, Ghanaian journalist, writer, broadcaster, podcaster, and entrepreneur. And in this week's edition of Ghanaian Focus is part 2 of our Diaspora conversations with Ghana Bound. So before we get into the podcast, just to make you aware that Ghanaian Focus is being sponsored by Grow For Me Ghana. Grow For Me Ghana is a fantastic initiative that seeks to help and develop and support Ghanaian farmers. And so if you'd love to be a sponsor of a Ghanaian farmer, I will leave you the link to Grow For Me Ghana in the footnotes to the show. All right, and if you like what you hear, please share, like to your friends, family, and social media networks. And also you can subscribe to the Ghana Africa in Focus podcast on all of the main platform providers, especially YouTube and Spotify. All right, so let's get into this week's edition of Ghanaian Focus, part 2 of our Diaspora conversations with Sam and Yaba, talking about their Ghana Bound project or brand. So if you can hear me, guys, Akwaba, and welcome to Ghanaian Focus.
Thank you, and thank you again for having us on again.
Fantastic. And how you doing? How's Ghana?
Yeah, it's good. We're just entering into the rainy season, so we're just getting ourselves ready for that. It's good. It's good.
Excellent stuff. Great.
It'll be a little bit cooler.
Okay, that's good. All right. So, in the last episode, we did talk about your journey to Ghana, obviously how you met and your journey to Ghana, and also some of the experiences and challenges you have met whilst being in Ghana, and also obviously coming with a family and some of the things that you would advise people who want to relocate to Ghana, especially if you've got young children. So this week's episode, we're going to concentrate more on your Ghana Bound brand and the sort of things that you do with that brand, particularly real estate, and also how you can help, maybe other Ghanaians or other diasporans who want to come to Ghana and even look at real estate. So, so what made you decide of the Ghana Bound brand?
So we started Ghana Bound after we decided to move to Ghana. We started with a YouTube channel. So that was purely to document the journey, for our kids. So later when they're older, they can look back on how they actually ended up, the practicalities, the highs, the lows, the adventures, and also a record for our families in the UK to be able to see that we're okay, to see the steps we've taken, and then to keep an eye on, be part of our Ghana move without actually being there. What happened then was that we realized a lot of people started jumping on our channel because they were also thinking about moving to Ghana, and then other people were inspired to even consider moving to Ghana once we showed them that we did. So that's how Ghana Bound was born. Okay. So the diary then turned into a guide for other people who are moving from all over the world. So we had all kinds of questions like how to get the passport, how to ship, shipping from different countries. We only knew about the UK, door-to-door companies, and just a whole array of questions. So we realized, oh my gosh, people actually need information. And when we were obsessed with YouTube, anything Ghana at the time, which I'm sure a lot of people are also when they're planning the move. But we realized there weren't a lot of content creators creating content before they moved to Ghana. So we were like, okay, there's a gap there. We have questions, others have questions. Let's start documenting the process before you even land in Ghana.
It's literally, we were Ghana Bound, and it was a very convenient way of answering the repeat questions that were coming in from our family and from others that were becoming interested. So at that point, we actually went into consultations. So it was actually fielding and hosting consultations. And let's say the top 5 questions are all housing related.
Okay.
So we then had a keen interest before we left the UK in real estate. And with so many questions coming in about real estate and where there are good developers, where can we, everything you can imagine. So we had to go back, we took it seriously, did our research, and followed the guidelines and set up our business. Yeah.
Excellent stuff.
And
So,
we're really lucky to partner with some really amazing people.
sure. I mean, we'll come on to that in a minute as we sort of progress the conversation. But just to backstop a bit, so in terms of your consultancy, do you actually provide a consultancy service for the diaspora who want to come back to Ghana and get property?
Yep. Yep. They can get us on the website and they can book a consultancy session. Yep. That's something we still do.
Oh, excellent, excellent. So what I'll do, then, I'll also leave, on the front end to the show, I'll leave your contact details. Is that okay? Like your website and like the Ghana Bound stuff on YouTube. Is that okay?
Fantastic.
Great, excellent stuff.
Yeah,
So
that'd be fantastic.
that's good, excellent. So in terms of the consultancy, then, how has that been? Have you had a lot of people, request your services in terms of wanting to know more about Ghana, how to relocate, how to get property, land, etc.? How has that been?
Yeah, we've had a lot of people. As you can imagine, the questions range. In us. So we've had so many people over the last couple of years reaching out, and we're grateful that we can even have some of these conversations with them and prevent them making some wrong mistakes. That's been a biggie. So yeah, it's been successful.
Excellent stuff. So now let's move on to the real estate, because I've watched a lot of your videos, and obviously you concentrate a lot on real estate, and you've obviously said why. So what is it about real estate in Ghana that you believe is that important that you thought part of your Ghana Bound brand, you focus on real estate?
Well, we've all heard the horror stories, and my mother was a victim of multiple failed attempts to buy land. So it's when you can relate with the people coming back, the rest of the diaspora, especially when we're from England, we know how hard it is to make and keep hold of your pounds, to come back to the heartbreak of sending money to your brother and the house is not even there. There's no bricks, nothing to show for it. And you've done 20 years of this, or even if it's 5 years, it's just horrendous. So our motto is to make your relocation as wahala-free as possible, because it's like, I think of my auntie in the NHS that wants to come back and retire here. And how can she do all of that and have nothing to show for it? At least if we get in contact with each other, we can talk you through, put you in contact with vetted people to get the product that you've been working so hard for. So it's a real big issue that we need. I mean, the whole industry is being sanitized, and we're part of that. So there is excellence here, and there are people that will do it right and give you what you ask for.
All right, so let's look at 2 or 3 aspects of the sort of whole real estate industry in Ghana. So do you guys do any land for sale, or do you advise people as to where to get lands? What is your thing on that?
We do. We have good partners in every sector. So if you want your home built, we've got great marriages or great partners for you that we can marry you to and get your home built. If you want land by the sea, we have the people that specialize in this, and we've seen the documents and the legal teams, the people that we work with, they're all used to working with the diaspora, which is really important because it's very different. And you'll get the right way to do stuff. Often people get a negative outcome because they cut the wrong corners.
And obviously your job is to ensure that people don't cut the wrong sort of short corners, so to speak. Yeah.
I mean, it's Ghana, so everybody has an uncle that knows someone in land commissions, or they know a guy that can do this. And especially when it comes to land, the lawyer will be worth their weight in gold when you weigh up against 10 years of litigation. Land litigation is over 80% of litigations in the courts right now.
Yeah, I hear that, because in Ghana there's a lot of land issues in terms of like the legitimacy of the land. So in terms of the land or the people that you work with regards to land, is the land legit, or are there any issues with the land?
Yeah, we only go with lands. We only put land on that we've what's the word, that we've checked
Survey?
all the paperwork. Yeah.
Yeah, but even with that, we always say
Mm.
to people, it's not our it is our responsibility when we put the lands on, but it's your responsibility if you're acquiring any property. You need to have your paperwork. You need to do your due diligence. And that's the thing, because Ghana here, you can get legitimate land, but it might be vested land. And then next thing you know, it's not the family that's selling it. It's actually through Lands Commission. You have to really educate yourself. We're here to support you, but we're definitely not here to do the process for you as a person, because we have a responsibility. The same way in the UK, you wouldn't just go and see a house and then give the seller cash without doing your research on the type of sewage system, the materials used to build the house. So why on earth would you come to a different country and do that? So we support people, but it doesn't end at us. You have to do your due diligence, and we always recommend you use a lawyer, because they know what they are doing.
And do you have access to
the court?
Okay, and do you have access to lawyers that people can actually tap into?
Absolutely.
Great,
Absolutely.
We're literally, you've done a lot of hard work, and we're bringing you into our network, and you can use our network and feel safe and know that you're working with professionals.
Sure. So what if somebody wants to, let's look at mortgages now. So I know obviously in the UK, as you know, there's a mortgage system that works in the UK. You buy a house and you pay a mortgage for 20, 25 years. Is that same situation in Ghana? How is that like in Ghana?
So mortgages in Ghana are way shorter term. Borrowing money in Ghana is expensive.
Wow.
So yeah, you can get mortgages here now, especially if you're a Ghanaian citizen. Sorry, especially if you're a Ghanaian citizen. If you're not, it's a little bit more tricky.
Right.
We've even now just started getting partners in the UK that are interested in working with people that are trying to build or buy in Ghana. So there's more services becoming available when it comes to borrowing and lending. But it is it's better you get a loan in the UK and bring that money and do your home than even getting a loan in Ghana. A lot of people do that because the percentages are sky high in Ghana.
Oh, is it because of are mortgages in Ghana, are they in dollars or cedis?
They generally tend to be.
What's the question?
Are they in dollars or cedis?
It's what's in dollars.
The mortgages, they should all be.
They're in cedis. Transactions in Ghana legally have to be in Ghana cedis. So you see a property that's worth $100,000, but you pay in the Ghana cedi equivalent, and they'll lend you the cedis.
Right. But obviously the interest rates are different from what we are in the UK.
Yeah, you're way double digit, definitely.
I think the minimum now is, let's give them specifics,
14. No.
So it ranges from around 12% up to about 30%.
Right.
Now you've got diasporan mortgages. People are working really hard to source and work with banks to get lower mortgages. So I'm grateful to be saying 10%, which is astronomical if you compare it to the West, but compared to 30% of what it was last year, I think it's an improvement. We're getting there, but that used to be the case when mortgages first came out in the UK. Comparatively, the years were shorter and the interest was higher. It's a new product that the banks are offering here.
And it is a bit of a different animal over here, because if you're not a Ghanaian, you're going to get 50-year lease. And if you are a Ghanaian, you're going to get up to 99 years.
Okay.
So freehold isn't a thing. Let's say it's very rare, and there's a particular set of parameters that need to be met before you could even transfer a freehold.
So then you're talking about that links with mortgages, because the banks,
because the years are so low, they don't expose themselves to that risk.
Right. Okay. That's good. So that's something that obviously the listeners can actually ponder out if they're wanting to get a mortgage in Ghana. But just to backtrack a bit into land, if somebody who's listening, who's not a Ghanaian per se, can non-Ghanaians buy land in Ghana?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. And what's the leasehold for that? Is that 50 years? Is that 90 years? What's that?
So for a non-Ghanaian, it's going to be 50 years max.
Right. Okay.
And then the renewal is assumed. No, sorry, for a non-Ghanaian, it's not assumed. But for a Ghanaian, it's assumed. But you should always try and get the renewal terms written into your initial contract.
Always get that done.
Sure. Great.
Whether you're a Ghanaian or non-Ghanaian, just for your own peace of mind.
Okay.
Let them put a clause in there that after 50 years, this land still belongs to me and the lease is renewable. And then the common question we get asked is, well, how much will that cost to renew the lease? And it's the going rate at the time. No one can tell you that right now.
Right. Okay, that's excellent. That's good to know. Now, in terms of real estate per se, and I've watched obviously a lot of your videos. I've watched your videos as well. One thing that probably my listeners will want to know is that two things. So one, why is real estate so expensive in Ghana? And two, why is it priced in US dollars? So I've seen some of the videos.
Say that again.
Say the question.
No, I'm just saying that I've seen some of the videos and I can, some prices, some houses are $100,000, $200,000, $80,000. What's all that about?
Okay, so you're saying why are houses in Ghana expensive?
Yeah, and
Right.
why in US dollars?
Okay, so two parts.
Yeah.
Which bit do you want to take?
So I'll take the. Oh, this is fun. Okay, I'll take the why are houses so expensive in Ghana.
Yeah.
They're not, and it's relative. Okay, so local Ghanaians are buying a lot of these houses. They are our clients. However, you'll notice that, we're based in Accra. Our business is based in Accra. So we often promote property in Accra. Now, it's the same thing. It's the capital city, right? And Ghana is the gateway to Africa right now. So there's a lot of trade happening. A lot of investors, developers are coming to Accra. Okay, other parts of Ghana, but let me be specific about the capital city.
Yeah.
So now it comes at a premium to live here. You can get a property in the capital city for under $100,000 US. And I'm saying
Really?
US dollars. Some people, yeah, of course you can. What that looks like, might not be something you're used to.
Right.
So
we've
got the city market. We can get you a house for 300,000 Ghana cedis, let's say $30,000. We can get you a house for that. You'd be like, wow, yes, your money can get a nice 2-bedroom. But then the area, the infrastructure, the road access, the finishes, the structure will not be what you're used to coming from the West. But someone here will be quite happy with that because they're used to it.
So there's two property markets going on in Ghana in the same time. It's the city market, where you'll get a chamber and hall for maybe 500 cedis a month rent. And then you have what the diaspora are looking for and expect, and that's a dollar market.
Okay.
Now, you asked why are houses displayed in dollars?
Yeah.
And actually what you'll find, it should be dollar equivalent, because all homes should be sold in cedis. Our market is a diaspora market. So when we put it in dollars, or if we put it in cedis rather, the first question is, how much is that in pounds or in dollars?
Okay.
So it's obvious starting from, so what people want to do is have a finite amount for their home. So if it's at $40,000, the dollars are stable. They're not going to fluctuate as much as the city does in the same time. So you will pay in cedis, absolutely. But it will be the city equivalent of $40,000, whatever it is that day. So you don't lose too much. If you can imagine having a multi-story, $3 million development, 15 floors, and having the dollar, the city fluctuate every day. It's a very bad experience for the person buying, because a minute ago you told me that this was 400,000 cedis, but today it's now 450,000. You're cheating me. But that's just the fluctuation in the dollar. So we're damned if we do, damned if we don't. But yes, we accept and are only allowed to sell homes in cedis.
Right. So, there's somebody listening to a podcast and they wanted to have that same standard of kind of living that they have in, say, UK, US, or Canada. What areas would you advise them in terms of, where they can get that kind of standard that they used to?
You
and
can
how
go
much
to
do they
airport.
expect to pay for it?
You can go to airport and have a 3-story building. You'll have a an elevator, a lift in your home to whisk you up to the top floor where you've got your sky lounge, and that's going to cost you. So that's probably about 2 or 4 minutes away from the airport.
Yeah.
And that's going to cost you around $580,000.
Woo.
So this is the capital city, right near the most affluent area in the city. How much does the equivalent cost in the UK?
In London.
So if you're going to Knightsbridge, which isn't even as close to the airport.
Yeah.
That's the thing about the airport, isn't it?
Yeah, because that's another thing.
That's
Here,
a whole other discussion.
here the affluent areas are closer to the airport, and that's a hangover from the needs of embassies and diplomats to be within half an hour from the airport. So when they went into these areas now became sought after. And so that's the connection between the airport and affluent areas. So most of the real areas that you, cantonments, East Legon, airport, Ridge, they're all within that same catchment area of an airport, making it the highest types of areas. So now when you turn that over and look at what kind of area you're talking about the same thing. You're going to be looking at the Knightsbridge, you're going to be looking at Chelsea, those types of areas are the equivalent. And now Ghana is still up and coming. So in those areas, you're going to have all the roads sorted out nicely. You're going to have the gutters that are going to be covered. You're going to have nice restaurants all the way around the place. You're going to have nightclubs. You're going to have international schools. This is where everybody wants to live.
Wow, okay.
But not everybody can afford it.
Right. So, I mean, is in these areas they just talked about, is demand outstrips the supply? Or?
Yeah, it outstrips supply. Right now, there's a lot of building going on in these areas.
Okay.
It may well tip in the other way,
Right.
but it's still what it is. It's the most affluent area in the capital city that is said to be the gateway to Africa. So the land is valuable, and the chiefs know the value of the land, and the land prices are absolutely insane, but they know what they have. It's not like a chief now doesn't value his own beachfront. They know the value of these things internationally. And the days of coming to Ghana and buying a plot on the beach for £2,000, they're long gone.
Okay. So, I mean, tell me about sort of other real estate opportunities outside the cross. So maybe listen to the podcast and viewers. And from what I know there's a lot of real estate opportunities outside the cross, like Ibri, or Yaifa, or Yibi, those kind of areas which are outside of the capital. Do you want to tell people about that? And because I know from, again, watching some of the videos, and also watching other videos, that various areas outside of Accra are becoming more popular with people. So are you able to give us a lowdown on that and what people should look out for?
So as the road networks are growing and getting better, you'll see new roads springing up. And as soon as you see that roadworks going in, you know that's going to be the next hot area. Like East Legon Hills was a hot area for last year. OUB that you mentioned, that's a straight shot from the airport. So you can go straight from the airport to your doorfront, and you can get something in OUB for a Yarifa for around $80,000, $60,000, and that'll be a house or at least an apartment. Yeah, or a townhouse. Small townhouse. There's a good few small townhouse developments. There's other developers doing things for the OAPs, for older developers. They want people that are retiring, and they're doing whole developments there with shops, with medical facilities in. So the developers are doing a lot of the heavy lifting for infrastructure now, because when you have a real good developer, the roads around the area, they understand the needs of the client. So slowly, things are moving forward.
Yeah, people have to understand, when it comes to infrastructure, they complain to the developer, but it's the responsibility of the government, which means you're often waiting for that time to come when it's your turn for the road to be done. So developers are factoring this in, and they are, putting their own money into it. But that means that to get their returns, they do need to make the price of the house will be that little bit more. So right now, Ghana is a fantastic place to invest because it's green, it's developing, it's not done and established and set. It's now, the potential is there and people have got their eyes on it on scale. So if you see an opportunity for an off-plan development, where you know that the infrastructure is part of the plan, then you can buy it for a lot cheaper than if it was a ready-built house.
Right.
So you've got different options, which is wonderful. And Accra, as a capital, is expanding. It's really growing out. So if you don't want to be in the crazy hot, congested center, then you can live, like you said, in Oyarifa, in Ayimensa, in OEB, like we mentioned. So this is why it's the time now, invest in these areas while it's not established. And you can be part of that. And also, as an investor, you'll make significant returns because you're investing now while the price is low.
Sure. Okay, so into the last 10 minutes of the show. So I just want to sort of touch about building, because I know there's a lot of building going on in Ghana, and maybe listeners who are listening to this podcast or viewers may want to know about building in Ghana. So again, from the sort of Ghana-bound, brand that you've got in terms of real estate, how do you help people who want to build properties, build their dream home?
If you want to build a property with our partners, in some cases you can come to me with a picture from Pinterest. Okay. I want my house front to look like this, and then we can sit you down with the architect and work the rest back from the facade. Also, we have a menu of builds that we've got with the exact pricing of what you will pay for that home. Caveat to that, if you're up in Ebri on a sheer pitched plot of land, then maybe there has to be civil works done just to be able to get the house done. But if it's a normal, relatively flat piece of land, we can get you homes built, modern looking homes built, from around $55,000.
Okay.
The Ghanaian equivalent of, So we take you through that. Go ahead.
And what's, building materials, because I hear that they're going up like crazy, because I know when I left Ghana not that long ago, about 10 years ago, cement was 17 Ghana cities, now about 100 Ghana cities. So how are the price of building materials?
Yeah, so cement for building now is at 97 cities a bag. I bought 20 bags today. I definitely know. Yeah. And then for the lesser grade cement that you'd use for plastering, that is at 71 cities.
Right.
So this fluctuates daily.
Wow.
Yeah, it can go up, like by next week it could be 100, it come back down. So the general trend for those building materials are slowly coming down. There's some new products coming onto the market over here, and Ghana soon will actually be making cement from scratch in Ghana, which is a development that's actually happening. Right now, there's a few parts of the chemical mix that we still import. So most things are imported here. People say, oh, you're building in Ghana, all the things coming, but it's not like that. A lot of things are still imported.
Right. So
therefore being paid in dollars. So
what about things like the iron rods, the sanctuary, those kind of the doors, kitchens?
Iron rods go up by the minute. They're so expensive. Look, if you can buy as much of your material in one go, that's the most economic way of doing it. The golden question we get, should I buy or should I build? Building, when you've got a very good, well-known contractor, is going to save you so much peace of mind. When you're building, sorry, did I say that over there? Buying, when you buy a home, you save yourself peace of mind when you have a very good contractor. When you're building, if you don't know what you've done or you've never built a home before, you're going to have palpitations and you're going to make mistakes because you've never built before. We get a lot of people coming over, I'm going to build, it's cheaper. And the last thing they built was Lego blocks at school. They've never built anything before, and then they'll be on site making changes, trying to do all sorts, and they're running around in circles, and
you'll just be taking advantage of it. You don't know what you're doing, like automatically. And it's not just those of us that have come from outside. It's local Ghanaians who don't know how to build. They too will be taken advantage of because people are trying to just sometimes.
Just like John the Builder from Essex, if he knows you don't know what you're talking about, he's going, ooh, it's going to cost a lot, that one, debate. It's the same. Builders are the same the world over. There's a lot of people here that are proud of their work. and have a good name in the industry that are going to give you a good product, we can help you find those people. We are very cautious for a lot of reasons when we come back from the UK or from the States, and we feel like everybody wants to rip me off. That's not actually the case. If you're going to do it right, you'll get the vibe straight away that you walked into a great office. The people seem to know what they're doing. You can go and look at other builds, especially that's a good one with developers. What other stuff have you done? Go and have a look. Go and talk to the people that live there. They can tell you if the place started leaking in 5 minutes or if it was fantastic. So don't lose your common sense just because you come to Ghana.
Right. I mean, that's some good advice as to which to end the show. So, you know, on a final tip, what advice would you give to those people who want to build, buy land, buy property? What are your sort of tips in closing?
Hire the professionals, work with the professionals, and don't be afraid to work with a broker, because people often think they're trying to save money by going via an auntie and uncle or a random person on YouTube. Because the thing is, you know, we promote houses on YouTube, but we've set up a brokerage and we're under the Ghana Association of Real Estate Brokers.
Okay.
So be very careful, but be willing to work with the professionals. And you'll find a lot of the brokers don't charge you as the buyer. So you're not gonna, you know, lose money by working with professionals.
Yeah,
Right.
definitely.
Great. Fantastic. So
And Ghana is right. Ghana is right. If you can't afford a whole plot, get a quarter plot. We can still put something up. You'll be sorry if you don't get in on it now, because people from all over the world are coming to Ghana and buying land in beautiful locations right now. All the horror stories that you hear hasn't deterred them. They're still coming and buying. I get on the plane, there's people from China, there's people from Lebanon, there's people from all over the world coming here to do business. Now, if they're coming to do business, why are we, the diaspora, not coming and doing business? What are we scared of? What are we missing out on?
And then lastly, lastly, I would say this: if you're worried and concerned about the price, the cost of buying, then you do it as a group. Don't come and do it on your own. A lot of investors do it as a group. And in our community, you know, as African Americans or African UK or Caribbeans, as a community, we're the last to come together and invest as a group. And, you know, we're a big part of that movement where it's like, no, change the mindset. Do it as a group, get lawyers involved, create a contract between you, do it properly, and then put your money into land or property in Ghana.
That sound advice. Thank you very much for that. So it's been fascinating talking to you about the Ghana brand, the Ghana brand, particularly about the real estate. And you've given us some great nuggets about how to get land, how to develop your property, how to buy property, etc. in Ghana. So lots of opportunities out there for the listeners and also viewers who want to buy land in Ghana. So Sam Yaba, thank you very much for joining me on the Ghanaian.
Thank you so much.
Thank
I will
you.
definitely put all your links to your website, to your etc., and people can contact you that way. All right.
Thank you so much.
Great.
Have a great evening.
And enjoy the rest of your day.
Our pleasure.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. There you have it, folks. That was Sam and Yaba from Ghana Bound talking about their product. And hopefully, like I said, I'll put you the links to their website and also the Ghana Bound YouTube channel on the footnotes to the podcast. All right, so this has been Ghana in Focus with myself, Kwame. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you next week for the next edition of Ghana in Focus. From all the crew here, thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you real soon. Take care now. Bye-bye.